Hello everyone, Kristina here with your True Love reading for the week of June 12th through the 18th. Thanks so much for joining me. And we have a really cool reading this week. Lots of shouting going on. Not so much in the repeats as much as it's just big old honking messages. And before we get into that, I do want to just remind everybody that there is a solstice special going on, link down below. And just another little heads up, keep your eyes peeled for some cool stuff that's about to kind of develop in my own business. So let's go ahead and get into it. Starting on our side of the spread, this is, when I say our side, I mean you and I, those of us who are engaging with this video. Okay, so first, energies surrounding us. We've got the 9 of Cups. This is wishes coming true and everything just going really well. I feel like, gosh, I didn't even look at what last week's video was, but I feel like this is, we had something similar. It was either like the 10 of Cups or the 10 of Pentacles or something. It was like, hey, everything's great. So that's like the current energy surrounding you. And then this was weird. So they had me, first of all, they made me use my No BS deck is the first thing. And then they had me only clarify 2 layers of it. So, what's going along with this 9 of Cups is the Magician. And the Magician is about knowing that we have every single thing that we need, all the resources that will make it possible for us to be in our fullest expression, no matter what that is. So what they're saying, okay, yeah, so what they're saying is like the current energy surrounding you, if you're not feeling like all fully magician-y and in charge of everything in your own life right now, this is a time then you would probably need to just pause and be grateful for everything. Yeah, mostly it's just that, yeah, everything is going really well. It's going exactly as it is meant to right now. And I'm not I don't really feel so what they're saying is like any strife or any internal conflict or dissatisfaction you might be going through this week is more about you being hung up on stuff that happened in the past, or like remorseful and trying to basically being all wound up about stuff you can't change. Or being dragged into the future where you're so looking forward or so worried about what might happen tomorrow or sometime down the line that you aren't really fully enjoying whatever this beautiful moment is right now. So I'm feeling this, so I hope that you all are too. And if you aren't feeling it, then take a look around, because it is all around you. You are swimming in it, my dears. Okay. All right. So moving out of alignment, the energy, the top 2 layers were the ones that got clarifiers. And then they had me for the energy that's pulling people out of alignment. They only had me just use the 1 card. So on our side, we've got this Wheel of Fortune. Gosh, this is like my favorite card of all tarot cards in every deck for all time. And let me show you, I always do this, but let me show you this little sign right here. It says, please adjust your dress before leaving. And this is really one of my favorite sayings, fix your dress. But what I think is really interesting about this is this, as an energy that's pulling us out of alignment, this is really about, I really truly love this woman's sassy, defiant persona. But this is a time when that energy isn't actually going to serve you. And so in order, and what they're saying is the Wheel of Fortune, is about kind of allowing things to be left to chance, or maybe not allowing it, that's the way it is. Everything that's going on right now is kind of on the wind, up to chance, up to destiny, okay? And what I think is, and so it's weird because what they're showing me is actually almost a reversal of this card, because her attitude is really kind of not in line with that. And so if you are, again, I mean, it's kind of like this, right? It's if you are being defiant and willful, which under ordinary circumstances, I am all about that. This is not a week where that's going to serve you very well. This is a time to be actually a little bit softer, definitely definitely more in like beauty and flow. Which it's weird, they're giving me flow, but that's actually a card on the counterpart side. But that's what's called for this week, is really to allow allow the universe to work, and don't get here's where it is on our side with our masculine card. Don't allow your frustration with not getting your way right now to sully how wonderful everything else is going. Okay? All right. Moving now to the energies that are pulling us into alignment. This is interesting. This has been coming up a lot. So this is the Five of Swords. Swords are about communication, thoughts. The Five is about, in a traditional tarot deck, the Five shows, it's the aftermath of a fight. Okay, and so there's like the one guy who is clearly won, but then his friends are, kind of stumbling off and leaving him, but they fought with each other, and so there's remorse there. It's an empty victory, and to have this card in the position of what is drawing us into alignment, coupled with the Star card, this is about I want to Let's see if I can, there we go. These two together are actually about, being introspective is the one thing, and really thinking about the consequences of our actions. If you do think about past behavior and past action that, like past conflict, rather than go, oh, I wish I would have, oh, I gotta, like where you beat yourself up and are full of judgment, this is actually about having compassion for both. For all parties who are involved. This one is saying you don't need to reach out. This is about just straight introspection. You can see the Star is a little bit, it has that solitude feeling in it. So go ahead and, for this week, the thing that will draw you into alignment is recounting those times when you have behaved poorly, and just sort of make that promise to yourself that you'll learn from that misstep and continue moving forward. Or when I say continue moving forward, it's like is to say, okay, well, I know that I won't do that again in the future, but for now, I've got my 9 cups, so I need to stay in my own sort of personal lightness, especially as we're heading into we're a little over a week out from the solstice, but it is like we're reaching that kind of the extreme of the Earth-Sun relationship. So this is something just to ponder and reflect upon, so that you can plant new seeds. And they gave me plant new seeds for the Southern Hemisphere people, which I think is great, because always, like, I always take the Southern Hemisphere people for granted. So that was really lovely that you guys got a message specifically. All right. Now, the masculine and feminine energies, as I've mentioned before, and it bears repeating, there are some readers who assign one side to be masculine, the other side to be feminine. I take a different stance, and that's not, like, the fact that I'm doing it differently is not judgment at all. This is just how I was called to do it. So because all of us have both masculine and feminine within us, and ultimately, our own fullest, highest expression requires us to have the masculine and feminine in balance with each other, I pull both for each side. So on our side, let's start. Look who it is again. It's Freya. And ooh, yeah, what happened last Friday, guys? Let me know either in the comments or send me a message. I'm so curious because my Friday was very interesting, and definitely not anything I could have anticipated or orchestrated on my own. So pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, so Freya's Venus energy is still with us, everybody. So yeah, go get your irresistible on. You're a sexy beast. So go ahead and be fully in that. Be fully within that. All of okay. So if you identify as a woman, I really am going to say, like, fully be in all of your curves and, the soft roundness of, all the different places on your body where they're soft and round. And you know what, but also, when where you've got bones and where there's like some harder angles and jutting out, be in that too, because all of that is full of, like both masculine and feminine. So Freya this week is just reminding us, keep going like that. Okay, now this I think is really interesting. The masculine energy is Typhon, and the key word here is anger and rage. And that is there was an undercurrent of that as the energy that was pulling us out of alignment. I think for us this week, we're really being pulled between kind of two. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't a super traditional feminine figure, traditional, conventional, whatever, stereotypical, but Typhon is kind of one of those lower vibrational masculine energies when out of control. Okay, so this I think is interesting. It's like you're going to be pulled between these two energies, this softness and this rage, and probably because that matches like the kind of rage and defiance from the original spread with, a little bit of softness and reflection that might come with Freya. I'm just going to sit with these for a moment. Yeah, this is also, if you've been... Typhon is such an interesting energy to have as our masculine this week, because there is a light side to this. Typhon isn't just all shadow, and chaos. This is about, like, honoring the negative emotions you might experience and let those flow through you, because when you push them down, they fester in the body. Negative emotions, when left unexpressed, create, it's like they grow their own little energy fungus in the etheric body. And it's okay, if you're a person who really needs to latch on to that love and light, and I say that obviously love and light energy are good things, but if you tend to not express or be honest or be, like being emotionally honest, being spiritually honest about the entire array of emotions that we're given, that's ultimately going to come back on you in some other ways that are not good. So I want to say, I've seen this before. I've seen it before called spiritual bypassing. And you could probably Google that. But basically it's this whole idea of like it's kind of this manic Stepford wife. Everything's great, everything's positive, and it's about, and that can lead you down a very dangerous path of being nice rather than being kind, and being nice because it's like fluffy and puppies and all of that, and being in complete denial of some of the harder stuff. You can only heal if you acknowledge that there is a wound there, okay? So this is, if there is some anger hiding in a wound that you're needing to clean and heal and do all of that with, let it flow out, okay? Go ahead and clear that energy out, clear that anger out. It's okay. It's more okay to let it, to do kind of the controlled burn instead of like push it down, suppression, 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 until finally the whole thing blows up. Okay. All right. Now, moving over to the counterparts. I don't know why my nose is so itchy today. Now, of course, like my whole face is going to be itchy. Okay. Oh my gosh, silliness. Okay, so current energy surrounding your counterpart. They've got the Three of Wands as their primary, with the Moon card as their clarifier. You know, the Three of Wands under ordinary circumstances, again, I'm kind of thinking I might need to get a traditional Rider-Waite so you can see what this looks like. But this usually is, actually, yeah, they're just gonna, let me pop. Hold please. I'm back. Okay, so this is what they wanted me to show you. So the Three of Wands, you see how this is a person kind of looking out at their whole horizon. And what I think is so interesting too, oh gosh, hold again. Okay, I'm back for reals. When my guides get pushy, they get pushy. Okay, so here's the Three of Wands, and they wanted me to show it in comparison with the Two of Wands, like in the traditional deck. So both of these figures are actually, it's a very similar energy. It's sort of looking out onto the horizon. This one seems to be looking like, see how he's holding that globe? It's like he's pondering the entire world, whereas this one is, I just think this is so interesting. It's like back fully to the camera. Sorry, I'm going to stop jiggling around. Back fully to the camera and really thinking about, okay, where do I go next? And it's a much more immediate feeling than this sort of wistful pondering of things that are out there someday, somewhere. This is, okay, I'm about to take a step. What direction is it going to be? And so to have that come out with this card, or excuse me, to have the Three of Wands show up in this deck, this is so interesting because there is, it's like, sorry, yeah, so it's like burning of stuff behind them, okay, and like they're really ready to go, move forward. They're doing something else entirely right now. And this is the moving forward without looking back, and moving with with purpose and a real sense of deliberate action. Okay, so yeah, that's what's surrounding them. And you know what's cool about it is that it comes with this Moon card as the clarifier. I like that this is the clarifier. Meanwhile, there were like 8 other things in here. That this is the clarifier because this is they're starting to be guided more by their intuition rather than like this card is like, if you think of these as like the, like the patches, the rank that show rank, rather than be guided by achievement and status, they're letting that go and saying, okay, well, that hasn't worked for me. So what does my heart tell me? What does my intuition tell me? How is my energy being pulled? And how is the universe trying to lead me, down a specific path? So, this is pretty cool. Sorry, I know I keep saying, like, this is cool. I'm like, ooh, but because the energy feels really good. It feels like a lot of forward movement. Our side has a little bit more kind of pause and introspection to it. And since I'm there, this is what the Five of Swords ordinarily looks like. So you can see it's that, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want them to feel bad. I just I got a little carried away. So all that, all that to say. All right, here we go. Now the energy pulling them out of alignment, they have the Page of Pentacles, and actually what they're showing me more is the scales and the weighing. Pages are immature. They're less experienced energies, so they're like knights in training. And especially when compared to what the cards drawing them into alignment, which are really cool, by the way. This is them with all that hesitation. This is their hesitation. This is weighing things too much. Like, it's like, how many times are you going to weigh it? It still weighs the same, okay? And that hesitation is a little bit of an echo on this. Like, so here they are at the precipice, ready to take a big old step forward, and they're like, yeah, but maybe let me just make sure I've got everything I need, right? So drawing them out of alignment is actually them being overly cautious. Drawing them into alignment, though, sweet Georgia Brown. So they've got 2 8s, which is the first awesome thing. So they've got the 8 of Cups, which is usually, you know, sometimes that's one of the readings on a traditional 8 of Cups is walking away from something you care about. That's not the energy I'm getting here, especially because it got clarified by the 8 of Forests. The 8 of Forests is like, so this is a bonus suit in my deck. This is feral earth energy. Bamboo grows very fast. It's like a combination of the 8 of Wands with the 8 of, what's the other? Oh my gosh, I just totally, and the 9, sorry. It's like the, oh my gosh. It's like a combination of the 8 of Wands with the 9 of Pentacles, okay? So it is abundance, it is sustainable abundance, and it's fast movement, fast growth, okay, that is enduring and stable. Bamboo is a very strong wood. It's a hardy wood. It is also, like I said, very fast growing, which is why it is considered a sustainable material. But with this 8 of Cups, you know how I said it's the 8 of Forests is like a combination. Sorry, let me change up, just make a nicer frame so I don't have like cards all over my face. Hello. Yeah, the 8, because it's a combination of the 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is often like rapid electronic communication. So, you know, text messaging, instant messaging. Oddly enough, email does not fit into this category anymore, because like people can be kind of hit or miss on how much they check their email, but they're like right there with their phones on the messaging, whatever. In any event, this feels, okay, so first of all, this feels like them going ahead and reaching out and communicating. And here's where this 8 of Cups starts to get good. This is about spilling tea. Okay, so it's not about walking away from something that you love so much. This is about they're spilling their tea. They are spilling the beans. They are, let me find another another thing that they can spill that is about them being honest. Okay, so especially, and it's emotional honesty, actually, not just, it's not gossip, it's emotional honesty. And maybe they will be reaching out to talk about why they had to walk away from something they cared about. Okay, oh wow, yeah, it feels very sweet and very sincere. And for those of you who get a message from your counterpart, I would absolutely love to celebrate that with you this week, because they're getting a lot of push in that direction. I mean, there's almost literally a fire under their butt. Okay, now this is really cool. They're masculine, feminine. We get Rhiannon a lot. I like when she shows up. So Rhiannon is her what do you call those? Keywords are self-trust. And this is, you know, so in her story, I think I've told this story enough times now. I'm going to tell a really, really abbreviated version. Basically, she had been convinced that she killed her own child, and to the extent that, like, yeah, she kind of believed it for a second, like, oh, I wouldn't do that, but everybody seems to think I did, so maybe I did, and until finally there's like that awakening moment where it's like, no, I know my own heart, I know what is. You know, I know who I am. I know what I need. I am in touch with my own higher self, my own, you know, inner heart. And so she steps into that kind of real confidence and certainty about herself. And wow, I mean, that really does echo this, you know, this reaching out, like, you know, bamboo is not a wimpy plant, and then like let me just pour all of it out there, because I can't not anymore. And what's really cool is that their masculine energy is flow, and that's what I was mentioning before. So this is really interesting. So we've got Poseidon and Typhon, which are both kind of sea based. I mean, if you think about typhoons, they tend to drum up, what do you call it? Form. Wow, I couldn't come up with a 4-letter word, and they were my specialty. Okay, so typhoons tend to form in where there's water, specifically seawater. And so I just think it's really interesting that the two masculine energies, their masculine energy is actually a much healthier version, which is about flow. They are, it seems like this week your counterpart is going to stop fighting against themselves. Plain and simple. They're going to stop fighting against themselves. They are going to let all of their energy flow, all of their emotions flow out, because they just don't know how else to do it anymore. They can't keep holding on to it. And that is actually a lesson for our side. Energetically, if we can tap more into this Poseidon of flow, that will keep this Typhon energy from devolving into its shadow aspect. Okay, so again, this is actually giving a little bit more specific information about let your emotions flow, but don't be afraid of those negative ones. Okay, all right. Current energies between the partners is intuitive communication, and it says silent whispers of the heart. And I mean, yeah, it sure is, isn't it? I mean, this is another, if you were not in physical, face-to-face contact with your partner like the last week with that soul card, this is still more of that, that heart connectedness, the intuitive connectedness. These two partners cannot shake each other. That's just the deal. Probably much more to your partner's chagrin. That they can't seem to escape you, but but it just speaks to what the energy of what this is. So don't be surprised if you are having lots of dreams, because they are also having lots of dreams with starring the other. And forgive me for just skipping straight ahead, because it's just that this card is such a so the botanical card for the week, this comes from Nature's Pharmacy. It in some ways it's both the advice and a reinforcement for what the current energy is. And so it's periwinkle. Look at that pretty periwinkle. Okay, now periwinkle, okay, so one of the things on the back, so it has a reputation for being like a main ingredient in magic, especially things, binding spells. But in this case, what they're showing me more is about, like periwinkle vines tend to like wrap around each other, kind of like, like the DNA strands that, so kind of like the DNA strands. And these are about bonds and connection and fidelity. And, the idea that you can't run away from people even if you want to, because you're always sort of connected to them. Sorry, I had like 3 things. So in terms of like in old witchcraft, old sorcery, the periwinkle being used as a binding agent in spells has more to do with fidelity than like binding people in place. Okay, I think that's an important clarification that they want me to make here. Also, gosh, there was something else that they wanted me to tell you about with periwinkle. The 5 here is the 5 petals. It's like the 5 petals of Venus. So there's a little bit more of that Freya energy coming in. But really, it's just periwinkle. This is your advice for the week, is to be like periwinkle and have faith that fidelity just is there. And if you are feeling, that's the thing. They're saying that fidelity is there. You don't have to do, it's really interesting. Yeah, you don't have to do much. Okay, you're not the one who's meant to be taking a bunch of action this week. All the action is on their side, and and it feels really good. It's like our side is really supposed to be concerned with introspection and reflection, and just know that, yeah, the vines are already growing together, so you don't have to like keep making sure that the vines are tied together, okay? Because it already is. And if you haven't already had some vivid dreams starring your partner before this moment, like before you're watching this video, you probably will in the next 48 hours. So yeah, like really cool. And see what I mean about like there were some really big messages coming in, and it's really like there's enlightenment happening on the counterpart side. They're trusting their heart. That's really wonderful, because they've been so fearful of their own hearts for so long that that of course it's wonderful that they're finally having these moments, and that trust is allowing them to have confidence to take, deliberate steps forward, rather than like, oh, maybe someday I'll do something about that. Like this is like, okay, I'm leaving this old pattern behind and I am taking real steps toward my own future. Okay. On our side, we just need to, kind of come back to our center, lose a little bit of the defiance and the need to control that does not serve us, while by the same token not being afraid. Oh, I've already lost I don't know where'd it go. Yeah, here we go. By the same token, not being afraid of those harder emotions. Okay, so oh wow, I knew that they weren't gonna let me stop talking. I was like, I'm not done yet. I don't know why, and it's because I was missing this message. That it's not for you to hold in those hard emotions. So when it's anger and rage, it seems like maybe what you experienced in terms of anger and rage in the past was like toughness and the ways that I'm confident and taking care of myself and in control of the situation. And it's like, yeah, that way of being is not going to serve you this week. And so really this is about like going into your little sanctuary space and allowing, instead of putting on the show of oh yeah, look at that, instead of putting on the show of anger and rage and tough talk, this is why I had this moment. It says theater on that clock that she's holding. Instead of making a show out of it, instead of like posturing in all of our like I'm so tough ways, this is like, no, just go into your own space, into your own sanctuary, and allow all of your legitimate, really deeply felt anger be expressed and flow out of you. And for a lot of you that might be crying. So not sad tears, but angry tears. Like, go ahead and let the rageful tears come spilling forth, because it's time. You don't need to be holding on to that. It doesn't make you more spiritual. It doesn't make you more good to deny that you sometimes get angry, okay? Or that you have anger over, whether it's this situation or just something else in your life, something else just in your own personal history or something that's going on right now. Go ahead and let that flow, because there are important messages in anger for you, okay? They alert you to when you have some unmet needs and when you need to make some changes as far as like how you go about, finding that balance and the peace that you want so much in your life, okay? All right, so that does it for the reading for this week. And one more reminder, the Solstice Special, links down below, along with the information about all the decks that I used this week. All right, everybody, I will see you again next week. Take care.